Today we'll look at scarcity, the key concept of economics. This is part of Civics Standard 8. Appraise the relationship between the consumer and the marketplace and the economy of the United States regarding scarcity, opportunity cost, trade-off decision making, and the stock market. Describing effects of government policies on the free market, identifying laws protecting rights of consumers and avenues of recourse when those rights are violated, and comparing economic systems including market, command, and traditional economies. So what do you know? 3 questions. What is scarcity? What is shortage? And have you ever been affected by scarcity or shortage? What is scarcity? Scarcity means we'll always want more than we have. Scarcity is always a part of human existence. Even a multi-billionaire may want more than his or her resources will allow, like a cure for his or her terminal illness, not yet known to medical science. In common English, we mix up the terms scarcity and shortage. For an economist, these are very different concepts. What is shortage? A shortage is a temporary lack of some resource. For example, in January 2008, Shreveport experienced a shortage of clean drinking water when a problem occurred at the city's water plant. Most grocery stores quickly sold out of bottled water. I was living in Shreveport at the time, teaching school that day. Our school closed because we had no clean water. I went to Sam's Club looking for a pack of bottled water. By the time I got there, it was sold out. I went across the Red River to Bossier Parish. Couldn't find any bottled water in grocery stores. I finally drove all the way across Bossier Parish to another parish, and there at a truck stop found some bottled water to bring home so we could brush our teeth that night. So a shortage is when you run out of something. Scarcity is a permanent condition of being able to picture having more than you do, of wanting more than your resources will allow. Scarcity is a permanent aspect of human existence. It's always with us because scarcity in some ways is within us. We can always think, well, if only I had more of this, if only I had that. Shortage is temporary. We run out of something. Cookies in the kitchen, water in the city, whatever it might be. But scarcity is permanent, shortage is temporary. Scarcity forces choices. We can never have all we might want. Our resources are always limited. We must choose how to use our limited resources to achieve the goals that are most important. Economics is called the Dismal science because it examines the impact of scarcity on our lives. Individual choices. Even wealthy individuals have limited resources. Most individuals must carefully manage their resources to achieve important goals like retirement or educating their children. We're going to do a small group assignment. I want each of the small groups to make a mind map titled Choices. Add 3 branches: individual, group, and societal. On the individual branch, illustrate 3 choices an individual might make with his or her limited resources. So on that branch, you'll put 2 things, like maybe go out to the movies or go to eat at a nice restaurant. If someone couldn't afford to do both in the same evening, they might have to make a choice. Or buy a car versus pay for some credits in college. Go to vocational school, go to a traditional 4-year school for college. So think about choices individuals make and put down 3 choices on the individual branch. Groups, whether organized to make a profit, like businesses, or to make a difference, such as nonprofits, must decide how to best use their limited resources. As part of your small group assignment, look at your choices mind map. On the group branch, illustrate 3 choices a group, such as a nonprofit institution, for example, a church, a synagogue, a mosque, or a charity, or a business, might make with its limited resources. Societal choices. Though the resources of an entire society might seem vast, the demands on a society are enormous. Even nations have to make hard choices in using limited resources. Look at your choices mind map. On the societal branch, illustrate 3 choices society, such as the United States, might make with its limited resources. For example, should the government pay for junior college or even 4-year college for all citizens who are eligible to go to college? Or should we build up our military to defend our nation? Should we invest more in prisons or more in schools? Think about the choices our society makes. Decisions. Scarcity forces us to make decisions on how best to use our limited resources. We attempt to maximize our happiness using our resources to get the most out of what we have. Rational choices are more likely to bring happiness. So let's think about rational decisions. The economic model, that means a simplified explanation, of decision making works something like this. How happy will each possible choice make us? How is each choice limited, and what trade-offs are involved? What do you have to give up to get what you want? Which choice gives us the most happiness, or as economists might say, the greatest utility, the greatest usefulness? Which provides the most happiness with the least painful trade-offs? So rational decisions are those that are intended to gain the most happiness, or at least to have the greatest probability of obtaining the most happiness or the most usefulness as an outcome of that decision. The dismal science of happiness. Yes, that is a contradiction, but it's pretty accurate. While economics is known as the dismal science, it deals with scarcity, it's actually the study of happiness. We call economics the dismal science because it shows our resources will never be enough to meet all of our wants and needs. We call that concept scarcity. We'll always want more than we have because our ability to want is infinite. Our ability to have, unfortunately, less so. However, economics is a study of how to squeeze the most happiness from those limited resources. Or as someone said, if life throws you lemons, make lemonade. And an economist will say, and then decide at the price point you can charge to make the greatest profit. So, yes, it's a dismal science, but it's really all about happiness. About given the limits you have, what can you achieve? Utility is more than electricity and water. The word utility may bring to mind the electric company or the city water supply system, like from the Monopoly board. Economists use utility as the measure of happiness. So when an economist says utility, they're thinking of happiness, usefulness, benefit, the good. Different strokes, utility varies with the values of the individual, organization, or society. What pleases one person may be distasteful to another. Some people have a very high utility for bacon. They love bacon. Other groups won't touch bacon. They consider it unclean because it's pork. So what one person may like very much, another person may not like at all. And that's okay. Values vary, tastes vary, beliefs vary. Cost and benefits. Cost is that which must be given up to obtain something we want. It could be money, time, effort, or something else. Cost may be one time or one-off, or they may be ongoing. Benefit is a happiness or a utility that we expect to obtain through making a choice. Benefits are often gained over some period of time. For example, you go to Best Buy. You buy a game console that you really want, a PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. And you pay for it all at once, but then you take it home and you play it over the next couple of years, and you gain the benefit over the time that you're playing the console, but the cost was one-off. On the other hand, if you pay for the console with a credit card, your cost would be ongoing for the period of time that you're paying off the credit card, both the initial part of the loan, and when you use a credit card, you're taking out a loan, and the interest that's charged on top of that. Interest is money charged for using someone else's money. Opportunity cost are the benefits that would have been gained from the next best choice that was given up in order to make the best choice. For example, if you have to choose between going out for pizza or going to the movies, and you decide to go to the movies, the opportunity cost is the delicious pepperoni goodness. And I'm not saying that to be cute. It's the benefit of the thing, the enjoyment of it, not the thing itself, but the benefit you would have gotten, the pleasure of eating it, the calories gained, the nutrients. Government and the market. Government policies affect the market. Tariffs, which are taxes on imported goods. In other words, you import something and the government charges you a tax for bringing it into the country. Tariffs may help some industries by protecting them from foreign competition because they raise the price on the foreign goods, making them less competitive with goods produced in the United States. However, other industries may be harmed as nations retaliate, take revenge, by raising their tariffs on American goods. So what helps one industry may hurt another. For example, before the Civil War, one of the issues between the North and South, certainly not the only one, but one of many, were the tariffs. Northern industry wanted high tariffs put on English clothing imported to the United States to make their own clothing they were manufacturing more competitive in the U.S. market. Cotton farmers in the South were opposed to this because they knew that the British would retaliate by raising the tariff on cotton grown in the South and imported to the United Kingdom. So that was a difference between the two. What would have benefited the northern textile industrialist would have harmed the southern cotton plantation owners. Environmental and safety regulations may improve public health, but raise expenses for some industries and, of course, costs for consumers. Consumer rights. Some government agencies are tasked with protecting consumer rights. Everyone is a consumer as we all purchase and consume goods and services. Consumers may complain to the relevant agency through a formal process. For federal complaints, start with USA.gov consumer-complaints, and that website will direct you to the appropriate agency once you fill out some forms. For consumer complaints at the state level in Alabama, see the link below that takes you to the Attorney General's office for the state of Alabama. The AGO in the URL there means Attorney General's office. URL is another name for a web address. So let's take a look at the USA.gov consumer complaints. And here you can see that there are steps for filing a complaint against a company about online purchases, dispute resolution, and what's called mandatory arbitration, where you must go through an arbitrator when you make a complaint about a company rather than suing. So you would start with this page for a federal complaint. And if the company's in another state, this may be the best place to start. For the State Attorney General for Alabama, this is their page. And this is the consumer complaint form that you fill out online. Notice there's a hotline here at the top, 1-800-392-5658. So you could call there, or you can fill out the online information here. And you would need some information about the business and the product or service they provide. And then they ask for your detailed explanation. And you can print that out and you can send it in electronically. There are three economic systems. Traditional economies are technologically stagnant. Things are done as they've always been done. The second type is a command economy. Command economies attempt to plan production and consumption. Historically, this has failed. And market economies permit supply and demand to set prices. Historically, this has driven innovation and produced the most wealth of any system. But the wealth is not evenly distributed. We'll look more in depth at that in a later presentation. In conclusion, every personal economic choice involves choice and trade-offs, cost and benefits, and opportunity cost. Understanding these concepts may help you make better personal economic decisions. Scarcity will always be with us. We'll always want more than we have. Shortages are temporary. Scarcity forces us to make hard choices with our limited resources at the individual, group, and societal levels. And economics is the study of how to make these choices, given the permanent problem of scarcity.